businesses for active shooter situations. Happy to be joined this morning by the CEO and co-founder, Tom Czyz. Thanks for being with us, Tom.
Thank you, Garcia. Appreciate it.
Can you first tell us the difference between a lockdown drill, which I think many of us are very familiar with, and an active shooter drill?
So a lockdown drill and active shooter drill, I think what you're looking for is a lockout compared to an active shooter drill. Teachers should never teach the students exactly what we're going to do. We're actually preparing staff and faculty to take leadership when a shooting occurs, because a lot of these active shooters that occur, they have ties to the schools. These attackers could be a high school student and have been high school students a lot of the times, and they also have ties, whether being parents, and if they know what's going to happen, they're going to come up with plans to override that. So the barricading of the doors being a surprise to this attacker definitely played in the favor of the school, just like the superintendent said.
So Tom, what do you say to those parents who don't necessarily want their children exposed to this discussion of violence? And it could be from as young as kindergarten, first grade, or even maybe high school parents.
I'm a father of 6, and my wife is a school teacher herself. Bringing comfort to the students and to the teachers when they know what to do, you're upping their chance of survival. So if these teachers at Rancho Elementary did not prepare by training and going over drills, there would have been a lot of fatalities here, and we could even say up to 80. There were 80 students there, and as you saw in Sandy Hook, when he got inside the classroom, it was fish in a barrel for him. It was not hard shots, and it made it very easy for him to get many kills, and we would have seen the same thing here if they did not practice. So parents need to accept that this is happening, and it's not just happening here. It's happening at churches, concerts. They need to be ready for it, and preparation is what's going to save your life.
But in the case of Sandy Hook, preventing the shooter from entering the school, as we saw this week in Tehama, would have helped. Do you think, I mean, essentially, once someone is inside your school, it's a whole different story, isn't it?
It is. You've got to have that preparation for that scenario of anything can happen. If the shooter is inside your school, you are then safer outside the school. If the shooter's outside, like we saw a couple days ago, you're safer inside. So having a plan of how you're going to do that and what you're going to do, and God forbid it gets close enough that you have to fight back, you've got to have that will to survive. You've got to be ready to fight. It's equipping these teachers and these students to fight.
Tom, you might want to adjust your microphone because we're kind of losing you in and out there, but I want to ask you, do you think most schools are doing this now? Do you think most schools have trained their children to have these drills?
Sadly, no. There was a release that 2/3 of the schools in the United States are doing active shooter drills, but what we've learned doing this in multiple states is that it's being done wrong. What the states are requiring is that the schools have a plan, but they're not relying on any experts on doing this and creating the plan for them. So the school's doing what they know best, but the experts that work with active shooter scenarios, whether it be law enforcement or even Homeland Security, are not able to help them come up with that plan. So that drill is not done right, even when it is done.
Hey, Tom, in some cases, an individual, even though the door is locked, they're going to probably find their way inside. I'm just curious in regards to your teaching specifically of an individual once inside the building, how are students supposed to react? Do they just get on the floor? Do you want them to counter it all when it gets to a certain situation? What 1 or 2 points do you drill into those individuals who are in charge of school districts?
So, Mike, my first thing that we teach all staff and faculty is they need to survive first. If they die or they end up getting shot and they're out, they cannot help the students. So that's the first thing that we teach, is empowering them to stay alive and fight for their lives. Second, you begin to help the students. So if he is in your classroom and he's making entry and you've barricaded doors, you have no other option than to fight back. And fighting back could be grabbing staplers, books, even picking up a chair. State laws protect you with deadly physical force to stop someone who's doing deadly physical force. And teachers need to understand that covers them too. So do staff members, that if they're able to stop somebody who's shooting at a school trying to kill by hitting them with a vehicle, you're justified to stop that action.
All right, John Czyz of Armor One, thank you so much for the conversation, for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.